Will, will you commit now not to send any further Russian troops into Ukrainian sovereign territory?
Look, did we say that we were planning to send our armed formations anywhere? We conducted war games in our territory. How can this not be clear? I'm saying it again because I want your audience to hear it. I want your listeners to hear it, both on the screens of their television sets and on the internet. We conducted military exercises in our territory. Imagine if we sent our troops into direct proximity to your borders. What would have been your response? We didn't do that. We did it in our territory. You conducted war games in Alaska. God bless you. But you had crossed an ocean, brought thousands of personnel and thousands of units of military equipment close to our borders, and yet you believe that we're acting aggressively, and somehow you're not. Just look at that. Pot calling the kettle black.
Moving on, the Biden administration has said that at your summit they will bring up the case of two US prisoners in Russia, Paul Whelan and Trevor Reed. They are two former Marines. Trevor Reed is suffering from COVID in prison. Why don't you release them ahead of the summit? Wouldn't that show goodwill?
I know that we have certain US citizens who are in prison, have been convicted, but if one considers the number of Russian Federation citizens who are in US prisons, then these numbers don't even compare. The United States, in recent years, has made a habit of catching Russian Federation citizens in third countries and taking them in violation of all international legal norms and put them in prison.
Unless we can have more time, I'm very happy to keep going for another 30 minutes.
I control the time here, so don't worry about time. Your guy, the Marine, he's just a drunk and a troublemaker. As they say here, he got himself shit-faced on vodka and started a fight. Among other things, he hit a cop. It's nothing. It's just a common crime. There's nothing to it. As far as possible negotiations on this subject, sure, it can be talked about. Obviously, we'll raise the matter of our citizens in prison in the United States. Yes, it can be a specific conversation, sure. We're happy to do it, although it doesn't seem that the U.S. administration has raised that matter. But we're prepared to talk about that. Our pilot Yaroshenko has been in prison in the U.S. for a good, I don't know how many years, 15, maybe 20 years. And there, the problem also seems to be a common crime. We could and should talk about it, but we haven't been talking about this, but we could. If the U.S. side is prepared to discuss it, so are we.
So his family will find that incredibly distressing to hear you talk about him that way. It does sound, though, as if you would consider some kind of a prisoner swap.
There is nothing offensive about it. He got drunk on vodka and started a fight. He fought a cop. There is nothing offensive about it. These things happen in life. There is nothing horrible about it. It happens to our men as well. Somebody gulps down some vodka and starts a fight. So you violate the law, you go to prison. What would have happened if he'd fought a cop in your country? He would have been shot dead on the spot, and that's the end of it. Isn't that the case?
And on the prisoner swap question, is that something that you would consider? Are you looking to negotiate? You're meeting with the president.
Yes, of course. Even better would be a discussion of the possibility of entering into an agreement on extradition of individuals who are in prison. This is a standard international practice. We have such agreements with several countries. We are prepared to enter into such an agreement with the United States.
Just to be clear, so we hear it from you, which Russian prisoners in the US would you be hoping to bring back to Russia? By name.
Well, we have a whole list.